It's Reyes Ramirez here with Fresh Arts. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have a really great lineup for a great discussion, as always. So if this is your first time with Fresh Arts, we're a nonprofit arts organization primarily based out of Houston, Texas. But we offer a lot of digital resources that are online, this being one of them, and particularly new in relation to the COVID-19 crisis. But we have a plethora of other programs that you can check out other than these videos that we hope you can find use from, whether you're in Houston or not. So right now I'm about to introduce our two guests today. The topic today being how artists are helping other artists in context of the COVID-19 crisis. And so our first guest is Carla Sue with Carla Sue greeting cards. You could say hi, Carla.
Hey guys.
And then we also have Amber Slaughter, who is the executive director of Artists for Artists. You could say hi, Amber.
Hey everyone.
Great. So we're going to go ahead and get this started. So my first question is just a pretty basic question in terms of if you could give an overview of your practice / organization and what your usual practices and programs are. Carla, if you could start off, please.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the owner of Carla Sue Greeting Cards and Gifts. I make handcrafted greeting cards and T-shirts and stickers. And my product is still sold in 53 stores around the nation so far. I outsource from small businesses. So the impact that has happened on my business and the small businesses that I work for and work with has been tremendous. So yeah, those are pretty much. I hope I answered the question, but yeah, that's
absolutely. Thank you, Amber. Same question. Can you give an overview of your practice / organization and what your usual practices and programs are?
Sure. Artists for Artists, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and typically we give emergency recovery grants in addition to some medical programming to Houston-based artists. Our emergency recovery grants are designed to assist artists experiencing a catastrophic career-threatening emergency, kind of like what we're going through right now. And we do this in partnership with other nonprofit organizations, corporate sponsors, private donors, and through other fundraising activities, such as art shows, galas, pop-up events, and private art collection tours.
Awesome, thank you. So kind of going into now the current crisis and the context, Carla, could you maybe give an example or explain a little bit about how the COVID-19 crisis has affected you in your usual practice, and perhaps explain a little bit of what you're doing differently now?
Oh, well, this has been such a roller coaster. My main source of income is from my business, Carla Sue, and once the outbreak started, a lot of the businesses that I work with, they all started shutting down. They stopped their wholesale orders because they weren't sure what was to come for the future for them. So a lot of the small boutiques and spas that my products are in, they stopped all of their usual orders. So that affected me a great deal. This, for me, it's a huge, of course, it's a health crisis, but this is also a huge economic crisis for so many of us small business owners. So I've had to make a shift, like many businesses, from doing a lot of things in person to online and virtually. I do a lot of pop-ups and pop-up markets and things like that are all outdoors usually, and it requires a lot of customer interaction, people to people, and since we're not doing that now, I've had to get a little creative on how I'm marketing my product and how I'm speaking with customers, and like I said, just making the shift from person to person to virtually, which it's been a process now, especially since I've become a preschool teacher in all of this now that my 4-year-old son is at home every day. So it's definitely been a struggle.
Thank you. Amber, same question. I know Artists for Artists has been around, and certainly not the first emergency perhaps y'all have dealt with. Um, but could you explain a little bit how particularly the COVID-19 crisis has affected you and your usual practice for Artists for Artists, and perhaps what you're doing differently as a result of?
Sure. What we are witnessing is what, like everybody else in the arts community is witnessing, is the cancellation of festivals, the cancellation of art shows, and that was a primary source of income for majority of the artists that we typically work with. And so that's created a huge need once again. And so like everyone, we've gone completely virtual, and our normal face-to-face meetings are now taking place virtually through different meeting platforms, in addition to an online 3D art exhibition that we're actually launching tomorrow that will highlight a lot of these local artists that can no longer show their works in a regular environment.
Thank you. And so, kind of going on to like what you're doing differently, and perhaps specifically regarding your projects, whether they be new or not. Uh, but Carla, I know you're working on a new um, kind of project. But before we get to that more, can you explain or probably talk about a little bit what prompted you to include helping other artists in your practice and what you do?
Okay. Well, being a crafter and a person in the city that makes things handmade, there's a community here. We do, like I said, we do a lot of pop-up markets and festivals together, and we've created a great bond. So, what originally was an idea just for myself, I decided to make a Carla Sue shopping network, and I was going to feature my own products in a like a home shopping network style. Uh, the crisis hit, and I decided to help my friends because a lot of them were shutting their businesses down, closing their doors indefinitely, and I had to figure out a way to help them. And so I started, like I said, the Carla Sue Shopping Network, a home shopping network for my homies that are in this crisis right now. And so I basically make a little minute video of their product featuring them, and I talk about how much they mean to me, and really showing the person behind the business more so the business and their art, um, with hopes that it drives people to follow their Instagram, their websites, and hopefully they get some sales out of it. So many have been impacted, and we all have to help each other in times like these. So that's pretty much how I came to start this whole thing. And now it's become larger than ever. I have 50 plus businesses that have reached out that want to be featured now, and it just keeps growing day by day.
Thank you. Amber, same question. I know, again, Artists for Artists has been doing this for a minute, but what prompted y'all to kind of create that organization to help other artists?
Well, we started this a couple years back when there was a local well-known artist who was sick, and he couldn't work for an extended amount of time. And we realized at that point that there was a need within the community that wasn't being met. Artists being in a very vulnerable type of work, they can't be out of work for months on end and have zero income and no safety net. So we created this organization to create a safety net for those artists.
And now that we kind of have like a good idea, like a better idea of what y'all are doing to help your community, how did you come to decide that those efforts work and tactics work best for you? So, Carla, Lyles, how did you decide that a Carla Sue shopping network was? I mean, it's a really great idea. I'm sure it'd be funny for many, but others it just makes sense. But how did you come to kind of decide that that would be the best way to help people?
Um, I'm pretty active on social media. I talk a lot to my customers in a very real, personable way. And so I was really just trying to figure out ways to do that for other businesses. And I'm sorry, this has been so overwhelming, the whole process. But yeah, I figured that using my platform and my Instagram, um, I have a few followers, a few thousand, and I was like, okay, um, I can use this. I can utilize this and use it as a tool to put the light on other businesses as well, and not just mine. So yeah, it just made sense. It made sense. Like I said, I talk a lot. I'm usually really silly, so I try to make it entertaining to grab people's attention, um, with hopes, like I said, to drive traffic to those businesses. So yeah, it just made sense to me.
Right, but I guess I kind of want to delve a little bit deeper. Why shopping network style? Like,
Oh,
as opposed to like many other ways.
oh, I was inspired. I was watching the Home Shopping Network, and there, there was a guy that looked like, the typical like a car salesman, kind of, whatever you would envision, like a '70s car salesman. I was watching. I saw on TV this guy selling tools on the Home Shopping Network, and he was so hilarious and so engaging. I almost bought them, and I don't even know anything about cars or tools, but I got the idea. I was really inspired by this guy, and I was like, you know what, I could do something like that in a funny way, because he was really hilarious and it's super engaging. And I was like, I have the personality for that, so let me give this a try. And also, it gave me an opportunity to tap into new things and experience new things like editing, and really just growing my graphic design skills. It's really been a challenge for me, a cool challenge to yeah, to start right now in this time where it's like all I have is time right now. So I figured, yeah, it would be a lot of good that could come out of it. So I'm learning a lot as we speak. Editing is very hard, but I'm getting there. So I'm learning about new businesses daily. It's just been fantastic. But yeah, I was inspired by the Home Shopping Network. Shout out to Tim Tommins. That was his name, Tim Tommins, selling his tools.
Thank you, Tim. Uh, Amber, same question in regards to Artists for Artists. I know y'all have done a gala-like event, art exhibitions. Right now, I believe you're working on an online art exhibition. And so, what prompted y'all to kind of like use that tactic to help people, or why did you decide that was the best way to move forward with this?
Well, as Plato said in the Republic, like necessity is the mother of invention. So a need or a problem, encourages creative efforts to meet or solve a problem. So that kind of speaks to the core mission of Artists for Artists. We're a grassroots organization, and we're always looking for fun and creative ways to foster support for local artists. And that's what gave us the idea to launch Adaptation, a virtual exhibition. So it's going to be a curated virtual art show, and it's featuring artwork from emerging to highly collected international artists, and it's who are utilizing like a vast array of mediums. And we are set to launch our opening on Friday, the 27th, that's tomorrow, at 6 p.m. And the event is going to run through the entire month of April, with another closing event on April 26th at 6 p.m.
Cool.
Cool. But could you maybe like talk a little bit more about like, I suppose, why putting together like art shows and exhibitions work best? Is that something you've just had experience in, or is that like when you and your team kind of came together, y'all had experience with that, or yeah?
Sure. Actually, the founding members of our organization, one of which is my husband. He's an artist, and many of our friends in the industry, they're all artists that show their artwork in either a gallery setting, art shows, or through different festivals. And so with all of those being canceled, we realized, people still want to see art. They still want to have the experience. They want the option to view artwork from local artists and kind of feel a sense of normalcy. So we're creating a virtual art opening, an art show where people can kind of virtually stroll through a 3D reality from the comfort of their own home in their PJs and maybe with their bottle of Topo Chico or a glass of wine, while staying home and staying safe and still having the same art experience that they would have at a gallery or a festival.
Great. Kind of on that line of thought again, Carla, could you maybe talk about like the adjustment, the transition period? Again, like you're saying that you're used to having that in-person contact with your potential customers or fans or collectors, and now that's totally been routed. Now you have to think about it in a totally different way. And so, how's that transition been? How's that effort been?
I'm gonna tell you, Reyes, it hasn't been good. It is. It's still a challenge. It's still such a challenge for me because like I said, once I lost my jobs and then my wholesale orders and accounts just started dropping like flies, I got nervous and I was like, this is really serious, and I kind of got stuck for a moment because so many people are going through this. We're all going through the same thing at the same time, and a lot of us are struggling, some more than others, but we're all trying to adjust, and I had to take a pause for a few days and really figure out how I was going to go about this. And I'm still trying to figure it out. And that's why the Carla Sue Network right now for me is I know for me right now, it's important for me to protect my peace and protect my mental health. So that requires me to just find spaces of happiness, and helping other businesses through the Carla Sue Network has really just provided this great sense of peace for me because, I have a purpose, I feel like, of just really trying to help others. That's the true happiness comes from, receiving. I'm sorry, from giving, not receiving. So I've really just been trying to focus on that until I can figure out what I'm going to do with Carla Sue. I'm still getting orders in, which is I'm so grateful for. I'm still getting orders daily. So I'm going to keep displaying my product on Instagram, which has been a great marketing tool for me. About 80%, 70% of my sales, um, 70% of my hits for my website come from Instagram. So I recognize how great of a marketing tool that social media can be. And that's another reason why I'm using this Carla Sue Shopping Network to push people towards these companies' Instagrams, businesses that had really never had a social media presence up until now. So that's really my main focus. And like I said, I'll just continue on posting my merchandise daily. I'm gonna feature my own stuff on the Carla Sue Shopping Network, and just take it day by day because it has been such a great adjustment with, being a teacher to my son in the morning and still trying to provide the same structure that he's had in school into the house. It's been such an adjustment. So I'm still trying to get there, Reyes. I'm not gonna lie to you.
No, you're not alone. Yeah, here at Fresh Arts, we've had to make tons of adjustments, and uh, it's rough. But I mean, yeah, it's in a lot of ways it's worth it. I'll follow up with you in regards to maybe what you've learned or what you've had to brush up on. Or, but Amber, I kind of want you to answer that question regarding how that transition's been, because again, I've seen that y'all have done fundraisers in person, traditional art exhibitions, and fundraisers, but now this is, I don't know if this is something you have experience in, or is this a completely new game for you, and how, and if it is, how's that transition been? I'm sorry, it seems Amber's connection has been a little severed. So sorry, Carla. We'll go right back to you while we get Amber back up. But yeah, what skills or what programs have you had to maybe learn or brush up on to best deliver your program, the Carla Sue Shopping Network?
Right. So I mean, I guess the beauty in this downtime that I have right now with Carla Sue, is that I can actually explore and tap into different creative mediums that I've always wanted to tap into, which one was editing. You know, my husband is an editor. He has a pretty successful podcast right now, and he does a lot of visual editing and sound engineering and things like that. So I've always been interested, and so now is the time for that I have. You know, I have the time now to just tap into it. So that, and honestly everything else that I've wanted to do, I've made a point to not just sit in one space throughout this time. You know, it seems very scary right now, but it won't be forever. And I want to make sure that by the end of all this, that I'm still standing, you know, that my business is still standing. So, yeah, I've been painting, wheat pasting, you know, trying to just dive into every creative medium that I've ever been interested in right now. And then I'm just going to push it out and, you know, see how everyone responds to it, and just keep going. Like I said, day by day.
Great. And I'm glad to have you back. So
I don't know where I went, but I'm back.
thank you. So in regards to kind of tracking back a little bit of a question to ask Carla, yeah, how has that adjustment been from transitioning, again, to repeat, I know Artists for Artists have done in-person traditional fundraisers and galas and art exhibitions, but transitioning perhaps to an online platform, to a digital presence. I'm not sure if you've had experience in that, or if this is a completely new game for you. And if so, how's that transition been for you?
Well, I'm starting to miss traditional meetings. I'm a hugger. I can't hug people. This is very disconcerting for me. But we're having to transition to different online platforms like Zoom for conferencing, where we can do large conferences and meetings. And our the new platform that we're trying for the exhibition, it's called Exhibit, where you're able to create and display a virtual exhibition. So Exhibit kind of mimics the important attributes of the gallery experience, where visitors can explore the exhibition, compare artworks at their actual size from any distance or angle. And this ties into our e-commerce site, which is a Squarespace site where people can go directly to purchase the art or learn more about the artists themselves. We'll also be showcasing live and some pre-recorded video interviews of the artists as well, kind of talking about what they're going through in this time, talking about their medium and everything else. So we're adapting.
Yeah, and again, kind of like, how's that adapting been? Have you had to like reach out to different people, perhaps, who've had those specific skills, or did some of this just come naturally? And like, do some of the skills transfer?
Yeah, I'm doing it all. I'm learning very quickly. I've watched lots of YouTube videos, mini tutorials, and then trying to take advice from other nonprofits who are in the art field, like Fresh Art. So taking my notes right now.
Yeah, that's kind of been like a trend, is like, what can people learn from each other, particularly artists, particularly organizations, that one will do something and then someone else maybe will pick up something and take it and run with it. Again, I'm sure the shopping network thing, and Carla, I'm sure that'll be like a whole meme, but it'll be its own thing that happens in the near future. So I think you're onto something. And with this transition, obviously we're adjusting, or in terms of like the back end or the background side of producing this content or producing these programs. But the next question would be, and Carla, you can start off, how have your followers, your constituents, your community, how have they responded to this program, to this project?
They're the best. They're the best. Yeah, everyone has been super supportive, man. There are, I guess I would imagine there are people who just don't care, but I don't know. I've been in contact with everyone who is just willing to help. And I'm not the only one. You know, I have all of my close peers are doing their own separate efforts to help other small businesses. Everyone is helping everyone. All of my followers have been so supportive. They're the ones keeping me afloat right now. and making purchases every day to my site. It's been incredible. Everyone has been super supportive. And I think that has a lot to do with me. Like I said, I'm really open on my social media. I talk a lot about my life, my entrepreneurial journey. So they're really familiar with me and what's going on, especially right now. And everybody has just been so supportive, and not just to me, but to the other businesses that I featured. It's been awesome. It's been really awesome. It gives me hope.
Is there good? Is there kind of any specific feedback that you've received, or is there? Have you seen kind of any success? Like, has anyone have the people you work with or that you're featuring? Have they received anything, any feedback, or any kind of benefit, or anything regarding your program? I know you've just done your first.
Yes, and my second one is out today. And actually, Fox 26 News reached out to that owner, and he's gonna have some type of feature talking about what's going on with him right now. And it was because they saw my Carla Sue Shopping Network video on his business. So that's really exciting for him, and that's all I want. All I want is to drive people to these businesses so we can shine a light on them. They need hope. They need to feel inspired. They need to believe that they can get through this, and I feel like I'm playing a little part in that and helping them keep pushing. That's all I want.
Absolutely, that sounds amazing. Amber, same question. How maybe your audiences, your constituents, your community, how have they responded to these transitions, to you making this move onto a digital platform or presence?
I just have to say, like, the Houston art community, it's amazing. Like, overwhelming response from collectors, galleries, artists, you name it. Like, it's been an overwhelming, beautiful response. And we're at max capacity for this particular show at the moment. But after we launch our opening, we're hoping throughout the month to add additional artists to the platform, and maybe continue on after the first month and go from there, just depending on the need. Yeah, it's really beautiful. It's very inspiring. Yes.
What about any kind of something specific in regards to like maybe feedback, or like have artists already seen the kind of results, or is this or perhaps talk about maybe in the past any results y'all have gotten? Because again, you've been around for, the organization wasn't born yesterday. It's been.
Yes. Well, I mean, we haven't launched its exhibition yet, so I'll have to get back to you on the response maybe next week on that particular event. But we had our first big, large fundraiser back in September. It was called Cirque du Freak, and it was a group show highlighting lots of well-known Houston artists, and we were able to raise over $70,000 in our first big fundraiser. And this was through community support, sponsorship, people making art purchases, and it was an overwhelming, beautiful event. Something a little different, something fun, a little edgy, and we're hoping to do more of those in the future as well.
Awesome. And kind of, again, maybe going back a little bit in regards to making this transition, Carla, if you could maybe share maybe some tips or maybe some experience that you've picked up along this journey, and maybe like if someone, let's say, want to make that digital transition, or if they want to help others, what do you recommend? What wisdom would you impart?
Okay. So how can I, are you asking me how can, if someone wants to if someone wants to
kind of like get into the realm of like, my apologies. Yeah. Like if someone wants to kind of go into the realm of like helping other artists, or if they want to make a transition, maybe they have never done a digital platform before or a digital program.
Oh, okay.
What recommendations, what tips would you have for them in making that jump?
Okay, you better be ready to do some things different, okay? We're going to have to change. We're going to have to adapt to a different way of doing things. So that's number one. We have to adapt Things are going to be virtual. Get really cozy with Zoom, like Amber was saying earlier. Zoom is great. If you want to do big group conferences, you can chat, you can have a freaking party online if you want. Just be as creative as possible, because there's so many things that you can do on these different social media outlets. So yes, team up with people like me. Team up with Amber and see how you can help. There's so many organizations out there that need extra hands. I need extra help. So I mean, hey, team up with me, Angel. Yeah, team up with us and join us. Join this whole ride the wave with us, man. Join this revolution. We're doing some really great things in the city, and Houston is so amazing for just always coming together in the time of crisis. It's just every time the artists are amazing. The craft community is amazing. Everybody is so on board to helping one another. So reach out to these organizations and people like me, and reach out to them and ask if you can lend a hand, and I will put you to work.
That's good. And then maybe could you maybe go a little bit into again, if someone wants to kind of get into helping a community, again, you've been around. I've seen you at pop-up shops. I've seen you at festivals and selling your amazing stuff. And so maybe people who are having to now think about community differently, would you impart or share any tips or some ideas in regards to how one can connect to their community, or how does one improve that connection to their community?
Yeah, go online and share your story. Let people know that there is an actual person behind the art. There is a person behind the business. Speak to them. Now is the time. I know a lot of people don't like to do this. It's hard for a lot of people to just go out there and just share in that way. And I get it. But now is the time to speak to the people. Speak to your audience if you have one. Speak to anyone. Even if you have 2 followers, talk to them, share your story so people can know that there's an actual life behind this. There's a life behind just a product. So I feel like that's it. Share your story so people can feel not so alone. And it also, people like to purchase things from the people what do they say? They like, know, and trust. So it's important to share your story. That's the tip. Talk to people, and ask for help if you need it. That's hard. It's hard, but ask for help.
Yeah, I know. I mean, some things, or probably people are being like, yeah, of course. But again, it's, one thing to know it and another thing to do it. And thank you, Carla. I think you're an amazing model of how one does something. And so, Amber, same question, perhaps in terms of maybe someone wants to do something similar to what you're doing, or wants to help their artist community. What tips or what recommendations do you have for them?
Find interns, hopefully some with a technology background. No, just kidding, but not really. As far as helping the local community, if they're interested in finding more about what we're doing at Artists for Artists, you can visit our website. It's artist4artist.org, and you can go to a link there that's
my phone was ready to die.
That's titled support, and there's a list of different ways that you can help our organization, and you can also donate to our emergency grant relief fund that goes directly to helping artists in times of crisis. And just get out there, ask questions like Carla said, send me a message. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to try new things, and be patient. Not everything's going to work the first time you do it, but just keep doing it. We're all supporting you, and we're all here if you need anything.
And then with that line of thought, could you maybe talk about a little regarding maybe what technology or what softwares or maybe what methods or tactics you've been using that have been really helpful for you and Artists for Artists to do what they do? I know you mentioned exhibition, that
Sure.
for an online exhibition, but yeah, could you go into others?
Sure. We try to do a lot of content that involves the artist as well. Artist created content videos that we're going to be sharing throughout the course of the month, just to give everybody a story, a backstory on the art. People want to know where it came from, who created it, and why. And they want to be able to connect with them and know what they're going through right now as well. So that is something we're going to be doing throughout the course of the month, just to share everyone's message and hopefully connect.
What what software are you using to present that? Are you gonna use maybe like a YouTube or Facebook Live or what have you?
Sure, we're using a few different platforms. We're doing Facebook in addition to Instagram for some of this live content. In addition to Squarespace, we're going to be uploading videos there where people can watch the videos, read about the artist, and connect to their social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and their websites as well. Our big push is to market these artists as much as possible and get them out there in front of people that can't see them the traditional way right now.
And then kind of moving on to maybe more, I guess, looking more towards the future. Is this, from what you've learned or from what you're doing now in the context of the COVID-19 crisis, are these methods, are these programs in regards to like an online virtual exhibition, is that something you'll continue to use beyond this crisis? And if so, how?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've just discovered the coolest platform ever. Being able to go and walk through a virtual gallery from home, that's amazing to me, and be able to look at the artwork up close and read about the artist. And it's almost like being there in the gallery and having a conversation with the artist themselves. So I love this possibility. I want to continue doing it and continue to promote artists in this way going forward. It's been a wonderful experience, and I think people are going to really enjoy it.
What's something about this that maybe you didn't think of before? Maybe is there something that now, like a new tactic or a new practice that now like you've learned from having to go digital, that, or is there a new possibility now that like because that in-person relation with collectors, with buyers, with people that you haven't had before?
The thing is, get into people's homes and just show your work, show your wares. These platforms are new. We're still testing them out, but I'm really excited that they're going to get the messaging across and help these artists.
Thank you. Carla, kind of the line of questioning I've been asking Amber is regards to what specific technologies or equipment that you've been using has been especially helpful to launching this program, or maybe in the past, what softwares or programs or equipment do you recommend?
I've been working on creating like a studio space in my house. That's a new thing of creating a space where I can constantly and consistently record with enough lighting and things of that nature. So just buying the essentials, I mean, I guess would be the essentials to like a regular like YouTuber. So just lights and a tripod and using different editing software, which is very new to me. So yeah, I've been using, oh gosh, I think it's I forgot the name of it, but it's owned by Filmora, or Filmorama. But yeah, I've just been using different editing software and just playing around and trying to figure it out. So the first step is to really just try, because I had no idea what I was doing before starting this Carla Sue Network. I just knew that I wanted to do it. So like Amber, she YouTubed and I YouTubed. I did research. I figured out what I needed to create a space so I can just make sure that I am featuring each item in a great way to where it looks good. And I'm saying things that where it sounds good, making sure the sound is right. Oh, using a mixer. I don't even know how to, I have it, but I haven't used it yet, but I will. And I'll be YouTubing someone shortly of trying to figure out how to perfect the sound, just really a lot of trial and error and figuring it out. That's just like the life of an entrepreneur anyway. And the life of a creative is just
Yeah, don't
trying
be
and
afraid to try.
figuring it out. So, yeah, so that's basically what I've been doing. So the basic essentials is like lighting, getting a ring light, getting a tripod, um, just trying to make sure that I have the basics to get the ball rolling. And it's rolling.
Yeah. No, I feel you. I mean, here at Fresh Hearts, that's something like we had to like kind of figure out very quickly in regards to the lighting, and even now having my face show up on this, as best as possible.
Yeah.
And I've already asked Amber this question, but for you, what in regards to the Carla Sue Shopping Network, a lot of these editing skills that you had to pick up, now having to learn how to use a mixer, are these methods something you'll continue to use beyond this crisis? And if so, how?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just the response with the Carla Sue Shopping Network, this is going to be something that I'm going to continue to do. Because I love learning about all of these different creatives and all of these different businesses. It's so fulfilling hearing their stories, and just it helps me keep going, So I'm definitely going to do this. Just it's me playing my part in helping my community. So I'm definitely going to continue on to do it. And hopefully, well, not hopefully, I will get better. I'll get better, and things won't feel so foreign to me like they do now. But I will definitely continue on with helping put the word out for my fellow entrepreneurs,
Absolutely. And then, Amber, could you maybe talk about perhaps what's been your biggest takeaway from this experience, particularly in the context of the COVID-19 crisis, or just what's been your biggest takeaway, your biggest lesson that you've learned from having to adjust?
Well, you adapt. I mean, that's my word of the day is adapt. And the beautiful thing about the art community is we come together in times of crisis, and this crisis is no different in that way. We're all here supporting each other. We all want everyone to succeed, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together, and we're going to get stronger through this together. And I'm here for you if you need me. Artists for Artists is here for you if you need me, so don't be afraid to reach out. We all get stronger by uplifting one another, so we're here.
Carla, same question. What's been your biggest takeaway? What's been maybe like a great lesson you've learned from having to adapt and in the context of COVID-19?
I learned that I'm only like super creative and have great ideas under crisis whenever the pressure is on. One thing I learned, I only come up with brilliant ideas. I only come up with brilliant ideas when the world is burning. But yeah, no, but seriously, but in all seriousness, man, people are resilient. And I feel resilient, and I feel so strong. And just seeing how everyone is coming together, it's really let me know, like, okay, I can do this, I can get through anything. So I definitely know that Carla Sue is gonna be completely fine once this is all over. But I've learned a lot about myself and just my patience, and how quickly I can adapt, and like I said, and how quickly I can get creative in crisis. It's awesome. I'm cool.
Amber, what resources or maybe outside of Artists for Artists, what's something you found useful in regards to helping you maybe on this journey or on this organization's path? What's been helpful? What resources, whether they be tangible or intangible? Could you maybe share some maybe like organizations maybe doing similar things, or other resources that are available that you found particularly helpful.
Sure. I mean, caffeine is number one. Organizations like Fresh Arts. Exactly. I finally transitioned to Topo Chico, but I'll be back on caffeine pretty soon. And yeah, organizations like Art League Houston, they're a great resource. Houston Art Alliance. I mean, there's so many out there. They're available online. They're available on social media, and they're constantly posting updated information with different artist resources. So just get online, check them out. They're out there. They're constantly posting in real time throughout this entire crisis. So check them out and just read what they have. Check out their content. It's there, and there's a lot of great opportunities for different resources and ways to adapt.
Carla, same question. Are there any resources out there that you recommend, or any ways that have helped you learn that you would want to steer people to use?
Man, shout out to the Houston Art Alliance, man. They are just always so on point, always consistently, like Amber was saying, in real time, sending you updates, sending you just everything that, or anything that could possibly help you. They're awesome. Also, my good friends, the HTX Boss Babes, Elise and Gabby. These girls are amazing. They're doing a lot of great things to help women in business that have been impacted, and they've been doing a great job. Another organization is also women specific, but it's called Every Dope Girl, and they are doing a lot of things to help the community and providing resources. Mm-hmm. So they're doing great things. So Every Dope Girl and the HTX Boss Babes.
Awesome. All right, so now is kind of the time to end or round out the discussion. Last question, please. Shout outs, this is the time for your shout outs. Maybe give people a way to find you online or digitally. Let us know of any upcoming events. So Amber, if you could please start with that.
Sure. You can check out the events and more on our organization at artists.org. You can see it on the screen right there. Check it out, find out more about our organization. And if you're an artist in times of crisis and you would like to apply for an emergency grant, there's a link to that as well. So check us out if you want to support, if you need support, if you want information on the event, it's all there. It's artists.org.
Any social media handles people should know about? Or
Yeah, so Instagram is artist HTX. And then we can be found on Facebook under the same.
Awesome. Carla, same question. Digital presence, digital platforms, social media handles, website, what you got?
Yeah. Again, I'm Carla Lyles, owner of Carla Sue. You can follow me at Carla Sue Houston on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You'll also see everything that we've been talking about today with the Carla Sue Shopping Network. They're all done through my social media platforms as of right now. So you can follow me again at Carla Sue Houston. And if you're interested in seeing what I sell and make and all my handcrafts, you can go to my website, www.carlasuehouston.com.
Awesome. Thank you to you too for a great discussion. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. Thank you for the help you're providing to the Houston arts community. It's people like you that really, get us through these times. And so again, I appreciate your time, appreciate your efforts, and I'll see you around, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Reyes.
Peace out there, everybody.
You guys. Keep killing it, Amber. Keep killing it, girl.
Trying. All right, bye, guys.
All right, so yeah, that concludes our discussion. Before we head out, though, I'm going to give some quick shout outs to some other artists that are working in the community that are offering some help. So let me go through some of them. Number one, we have, pulling the information up. So some shout outs we have is Stephen Hebert, a photographer who is using his social media channels as a platform for education to give back to the community that taught him photography skills. His instruction videos and resources are freely available via YouTube to support students who have had their access to resources cut mid-semester. You can follow Stephen on YouTube at Atelier Hebert. That is Atelier space HEBERT. And up next, we have the Laser Cut Company. They are an East End small business run by a small team of creatives. They have created a Houston Strong keychain campaign, which will give 25% of sales to support local businesses. You can support their efforts at Laser Cut Co. That is LASERCUTCO, and their website is www.lasercutco.com. Up next, we have, as they've been mentioned before by Carla, that is Boss Babes HTX. They're powered by local creatives Elise Espinosa and Gabriela Campos. They have made it their mission to support female small businesses and recently hosted Babes Helping Babes, a social media initiative to encourage supporting small businesses on Small Business Saturday. You can follow them at HTX Boss Babes. And finally, or rather not finally, there's so many, which is a good problem to have, TXRX Labs. They are another East End artist-run organization and other local artists, and they are working with local artists to make medical supplies for local hospitals. You can find them on social media at TXRX Labs, or go to the website www.txrxlabs.org. And finally, we have Colin Hendy with Fifth World Collective. They are putting their manufacturing equipment to work to produce inexpensive and easily reproducible merchandise that artists can sell online. They plan to work with artists to develop their product, produce it in-house for them, and will cover the first round of materials to expedite placing items in artists' hands so they can begin their sales efforts. Services include CNC routing, laser cutting, custom fabrication, and more. Please check out their website, which you can see right here on the screen, which is fifthworldcollective.com, FIFTHWORLDCOLLECTIVE.com. And sort of the purpose of today's discussion was to kind of give a sample, a taste of so many artists that are supporting their fellow creatives by sharing their posts, sharing their work, raising funds to, again, bring some help to people who really need it. If you have artists you'd like to see featured or have stories or resources you'd like to share, please contact me. My email is reyes@fresharts.org. That is REYES @fresharts.org. Or you can message us through our socials @fresharts.org, or fill out this info form and we can get back to you. And that link will be posted in the comments, and you can visit fresharts.org. So this has been Reyes Ramirez. Please tune in next Tuesday at noon, same time, same place. And we're going to have another great discussion, and you will be able to see the topic and discussion points that we'll be covering on Tuesday at noon. Just want to give a quick shout out to our media sponsor, Glass Tire. And also, again, a very, very hearty thank you to Ben Doyle of Bend Productions, who is making all this look nice and sleek and pretty. So again, thank you, Ben. Also want to give a quick but very, very heartfelt thank you to Angela Carranza, my colleague here in the office, who has been answering perhaps any questions or going through the comments and posting links. She's been working tirelessly and amazingly to kind of put these things together. You may see my face, but she is the one making this happen. So big thank you to Angela. And a big thank you to you. Thank you for tuning in every week. If you have been, if this is your first time, thank you so much. Please come back. Don't be a stranger. And again, thank you to all the artists that are getting through this, that are helping each other. We're all doing our part. So again, thank you, Houston. Stay strong, stay safe, and I'll see you next time.